Please. Okay, well, welcome everybody for another session of Global Technopolitics Forum's research team meeting. So we start this meeting by asking Jennifer to present her paper. Jennifer, floor is yours.
Jennifer is not here. Perhaps you meant Megan?
Megan, Megan, floor is yours.
Yeah, no problem. So 2 weeks ago, we were looking at possibly finding, cutting down the SSA nations into maybe 5 or 4 of the top countries with the best, internet penetration. So what I've done for this week is I've tried to look at I found a report that kind of laid out the worldwide average of internet penetration, which is about 59.5%. And then I looked at my old statistics, which I did originally. It was like it's a really big Excel file of a bunch of statistics about internet penetration, mobile use, etc., etc. And I used that to kind of match it to the worldwide average, and find essentially the 5 best countries. So I've got that, and then I also decided it might also be a good idea to look at the countries with the lowest internet penetration in comparison to the worldwide average, just so that when we're going into when we're looking at more research trying to find the trend, we can see which countries, what countries are doing, what the countries are doing to have a high penetration, and what the countries who have the low penetration are doing wrong, essentially, just to find a good trend to see like I said, what their policies, how they differ, how it's affecting also their democracy. Because I feel like it would just be a good idea to have that comparison almost as a control, because you can have the highest countries and say, oh yeah, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing that. This must be the trend. But if you don't have the control there, then it's not very concrete, if that makes sense. So that's what I've done this week. It's not a lot, but it will help to really, for the upcoming weeks, it will help to have a good base, a good foundation.
I suggest 2 sources. One is World Wide Web. They have done a lot of work in terms of internet access in various parts of world, and it will be good to look to see what they're doing and what problems they're facing. Another one is Network Readiness Index, which has looked in depth into Africa. And I think that looks at it looking in terms of the system. So it looks at economy, technology, people, and impact. I think you will find that one interesting as well.
Which one was the second one? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Network Readiness Index.
Network Readiness. Okay, perfect.
Index. There's an index with a focus on Africa.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Maura?
Sounds great. I love the idea of the worst also, just to get a sense, because we may find out that it has nothing to do with the internet. There may be other factors that we have to consider. So it's a great idea, Megan.
Great.
Got a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, please, Paul, go ahead.
Just wondering about the distinction between mobile access and fixed access, whether you make that distinction and what impact that might have.
The report that I found, they used it as the title was Internet Adoption, and Internet Adoption, I think they defined it as countries where, like, how the ICT infrastructure or something like that. So I assumed it was similar to internet penetration, because then when I looked, they also have country by country fact files. When I looked into their country by country fact file, their internet penetration percentages were exactly the same as the ones that I had in my file. But I haven't made that distinction. No, I think it was more so internet on a broad spectrum. I know that in Africa they use mobile a lot for money, but no, I didn't make that distinction, which might be interesting to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, because your rankings of countries or how you consider them, that landscape could change dramatically, whether you're considering mobile access to the internet or by fixed, using fiber or cable or so. Quite a big difference, I think.
It was striking how different it was striking how, not surprising, but striking how different the penetration rates were, from 55 and 56 to 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah.
Firuze, any comments?
No. Unfortunately, I missed the first part of what she said. I only came to the tail bit at the end, so I'll have to go back and. Seems like Megan has a new bit of research out there, so I have to go look at it. Unfortunately, I missed what she said at the beginning, so but I see a movement on that.
I can summarize it in the in Slack if you'd like.
Oh, that would be great. Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
So we will come back to you in case you have a comment for Megan quickly. So next, maybe we go to Leo and 5G project.
Yeah. So for this week, didn't add too much new material to 5G, more of just a reflection to the 1 to 2 page report that we sent. So Ekin and I kind of just looked at all of the research we had. At the start of the report, we just put a list of what I've done, what Echo has done, and then we kind of listed again all the information we have categorized under those big kind of aspects of 5G that I used for the presentation. So that was infrastructure, costs and benefits, policy decisions, geopolitics, and then looked at our case studies and put that into a table, and we just listed down, what are some of the aspects under these categories that we still need to fill out. And then we came to the conclusion that we're close to done defining the 5G infrastructure and the technology. There's still some lingering bits of that we still have to understand. But actually that meeting we had with Michelle really answered some of those questions and also gave us some material to research to really flesh out those areas of infrastructure that we don't really understand fully yet. So I saw Professor Godinez's comments say that we're very close to starting the phase 1 of a white paper. So that's kind of on my mind now.
Yeah, I think unless you start the white paper, you wouldn't know really what else you need. So I suggest start the first draft as soon as you can, and then you're going to come up with ideas what holes exist to fill. Greg?
No, I said my only comment was really, I agree with both of you that it is time to start a white paper. That'll be great.
Yeah.
And Maura?
Absolutely. You guys are ready to start writing.
That's good.
And Echo also uploaded a paper. Probably you have seen it, Leo. Is there anything on that paper you want to discuss since she's not here?
I didn't get the chance to read that, sorry.
Okay. All right. So I think next we go to Darius.
Yes. So as I wrote in my brief write-up over the weekend, I'm kind of, I think I'm also ready. Like I'm also definitely beyond, I've been ready to start writing something. I just got to do it now. And the other thing though is that actually from Professor Treverton's class, another aspect I want to include in this is just really briefly is thorium deposits in Central Asia, and China is really aggressively developing their thorium reactors because it's nuclear but not with weapons capabilities. It's too low grade, or they can't refine it enough or something of that sort. So yeah, there are some thorium deposits throughout Central Asia. So I just wanted to maybe look more at the at the resources there, and kind of like instead of just, and then like I also received the email that the Smith Richardson Foundation did not want to give a grant for my old proposal. So I was thinking like, I don't know if this is too much, but I was thinking that I could kind of like reframe the scope of this paper, and like maybe this is just like a potential thing I was thinking about, or maybe this is the next step after I get this idea fully done. But I was thinking like making it more broad, like looking at where China is and where they're how all of these investment projects and infrastructure development projects are all in areas that have a lot of resources, like underground, like in their mines. I just thought like, that's definitely not coincidental that, that's going on, that the very things that China is viewing is clearly from their policy decisions, like their energy policy decisions. They clearly have an understanding of, the fact that they if they want to be a dominant actor moving forward, they need to be able to be the leader in renewable and like sustainable energy. So, and yeah, I don't really know if that's a good idea to add in. It's just something I've been thinking
I
about.
think we started this project by the concept of corridors, not just one, but looking at digital corridors. So to me, they should be we should look at them as, we should converge these studies rather than separate. But I don't know what Maura has in mind.
Well, Dariush, I don't know if you had a chance to see my comments, but basically, I agree with Pari. I'd like to see a phase 1 white paper on digital corridors, plural. What is a digital corridor? What makes up a digital corridor? You've done all that research. You can pull all that together and write a paper on that. And then I think your insight is very good, because as the corridors that you have looked at specifically, the China, Iran, Russia, the India, North, South, and the Central Asia, once you have that first paper solid out, ready to rock and roll, gone, then the next paper is, so what is China doing and why to try to dominate those digital corridors? And what is their motivation? And then what will it take? Because I think at that point, you will have research from 5G to work with. You will have research from other things that everybody else has done, and you'll be able to look at China's potential exploitation of the digital corridors that you have already described. So I see this as a fascinating 2-part project that get the first part out, let it rest, and then come back to the Chinese piece that you have already dabbled in, because obviously China's been pumping resources into digital corridors. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I shouldn't focus too much about the implications. It's just more so describing but I mean, I would definitely be using Central Asia as like my primary example of like sort of corridor building
well,
activities.
You have to limit yourself to that.
Just because that's, where.
Right, but you've also talked about the India, North, South, and the other. I don't think you have to, I mean, yes, it's your primary example because you've done the most research. But I mean, I think it's sort of like what Leo and Echo are doing on 5G. First, they're going to talk about the technical piece. Then they're going to go to the individual countries for developing things. You're going to talk about what is a digital corridor, and you can pull from all 3 of those things. Then you can refocus on, okay, that piece is done. Now let's look at it from another view. Greg?
Okay,
Sorry, Dariush. Does that make sense, Greg and Pari?
Yeah, I think of this as a 2-part does make really good sense. As you say, Dariush, you already got most of the first one done and got lots of thoughts for the second one. So I think thinking of it as a 2-part process makes a lot of sense.
Okay, yeah. Then that's what I'll do. I'll focus on the technical piece for the first like sort of white paper, and then expand based off of that.
And one more thing, Dariush, before I forget, when I was reading your notes this week, I noticed you said that you like to go into the historical problems between these countries and political tensions between them. Personally, while I would mention those, but I wouldn't go deep into those. You're not historian, and it doesn't make much difference. It's important to know such tensions exist, but I don't think you should go deep into it. It's going to waste a lot of your time, and I don't think it's going to benefit you that much.
Okay. I just think that stuff is cool, but not necessarily helpful. I understand that. Thank you.
It's only important as it affects the geopolitics of making the digital corridor. I think that's Pari's point. You need to know just enough to be able to throw us a 1 or 2 liner to say, you are aware that Tajikistan and Tadjikistan do thus and so, and hence they either agree or disagree, but you don't have to give us 5 pages on it.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to keep it focused. It's just, I don't know. I know a lot of that stuff, and it's just interesting to me. So that was more so just like something else that I felt like I could talk about, but I see how it doesn't really help much with like defining and like framing the problem. It's more so just like me being a Central Asia aficionado.
Focus is always the challenge for all of us.
Yeah.
And I think in looking at digital corridor beyond the just technical issues, I think the economy, people, all those pieces should come to play. So it's important to look at those ones as well. What legislation exists? What is the legislative framework? So I think you should look at those ones. And I know some of those already exist in your paper.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll start getting it done.
Yep, thank you. Next, I think we go to Kai.
Yeah,
Kai?
so the point we're at, the paper should basically be done by now, and it's on me that hasn't happened yet, but I was planning to, have it completely done by today, but I had a couple midterms this week and just didn't get as much work as I'd hoped to. I messaged with Dan a little bit yesterday, and it sounds like he's in a similar boat, and he's actually dealing with thesis stuff, so even more inundated than I am. And we talked a little bit about where we're trying to go, and I ended up writing the little 1.5 page kind of proposal where the next steps we wanted to go this morning, and I shared it with all of you guys. I don't know if you had a chance to see it yet, but I think we both have a pretty good understanding of what we want to talk about, and I really just need to get these final edits done, and then we'll be able to move on to the next steps. And Pari, I have not forgot that I still need to get you the headshot and the summary, but my most recent headshot is like 6 years old, so I'm trying to get a new one as soon as possible. And one other point I wanted to make was, as far as the paper goes, there's just like a couple things where I think if I was able to go over it with Professor Godinez, it would probably clarify it, and we would can solidify it hopefully in the next couple of days.
I saw your 1-pager. You're absolutely right. You guys are ready to rock and roll. You just have to finish the paper. Your summary was great. It was going to look great on a proposal. I mean, you're really, your stuff. Now we just have to go back and slog through the gut work to, get the details in place so we can get that paper out. And yes, just tell me, I know you guys are overwhelmed with finals. I mean, everybody is. So
I think after Tuesday, I should be a bit better.
Just send me an email and let me know when you want to meet once you're, able to stick your head above water and be doing more than sucking pond scum, that you're high enough up that you can actually breathe. And then we'll take it from there, because you guys know your stuff. You just have to finish writing.
Agreed. Thank you.
Dick?
Yeah, no, I went through the paper again and went through Laura's comments, which I thought were exactly on the mark. So you're really are ready to go.
And one point I want to make for all of you, no matter how good is the research you have done, unless we publish it, you have nothing in your hands. So if you don't publish, you waste all the good work that you have done. And if you continue to expand it, you're going to lose your focus, you're going to forget a lot of things, and it's going to be difficult. So the sooner you start to write your paper and produce it, the better it is. So I really want to emphasize that all of you start to write your white paper, try to finish it. So I think next, go to any comments? No? Okay, next we go to Anna. Anna? Anna, are you here?
Sorry, just fidgeting with the buttons. Okay,
Okay.
so this week I've been doing the wiki page. I've been reading your comments, and I'm just going to add more to the achievements and the publication section. About the initiatives, you did mention that they have changed from the information that was in the white page, which is fine. I have a meeting coming up with Maura on Monday, so I'm sure we can further discuss that there. I did want to take this opportunity to ask Greg whether we can say it's a global policy think tank under the type section of the wiki page.
So you repeat that?
So would we classify the forum as a global policy think tank? Or,
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's fine. Then we can leave it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. The other question that I've had is...
Oh, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. What she means, Greg, is I highlighted the word think tank to ask you whether you want to change that word to something else.
It has a complicated history, as you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine. I think it's fine there.
It's fine. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sorry, Anna.
Yeah.
Continue.
No, it's fine. So yes, the other question I have is, so there's a lot of like statements that kind of are more about context. So I'm guessing we might have to find some links to back up those claims. Would it be okay if I added those links under the external links page?
Well, I think what I need you to do is to create the wiki page. So it matter if it's not completed first time, and then we go to look at it wherever we can. We add the links in the body of the work. Wherever we can't, we put it at the bottom. So, but create the wiki page and then add to it. It's not going to be complete in one go. We can continue adding and improving it.
Oh, then that's fine then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
All right. So I wonder who else is left.
Feruze is here.
Yes, Firze, you had some summary in Slack. Would you like to talk about it now? Are you ready?
Oh, I haven't read it. Is it? Was she putting it right now in Slack? Because I haven't read it.
Okay.
So
I said it in the election section.
Right. So I will read it. I will read it later. I'm just here actually to find out if there's been any movement on the two projects. So I will read this afterwards. So I'm just everyone else.
I have a comment, and this sort of follows up on Pari's comment on getting things out the door. I let the Lebanon paper slide, so it's on the top of my list. I've started doing the just mostly some English language edits on it so we can get it out the door, because you guys worked so hard on it and it's been sitting there, and I'm the guilty party who has not pushed it as hard as I need to. So hopefully within the next week, you will see, Feruze, a updated, and there may, of course, unfortunately, because it slid for 2 months in your events line, etc., we may need to update a few things because obviously so much happens in a short period of time. But I will again follow our own advice to Leo, which is get it done, see where the holes are. And so I hope to be working top priority on that to get it done, and we will be consulting. And I don't know, Joy has said she is reachable, but she's still in a new job, so it may just be us May just be us chickens making it happen, but at this point,
No problem.
at this
Looking forward to jumping back in. I've been kind of,
absolutely.
yeah, I've been kind of loosely following exactly, and as I like an interesting tidbit, I know Bernie Madoff died. Salama, who is the head of the central bank in Lebanon, was one of his victims. So I thought that was very interesting.
That is intriguing. Wow.
Sounds great. But anyway, you and I, you'll be seeing hopefully lots, and I may be reaching out to you with some questions of, so what's new, where can we insert it, when, and you know, where it needs to go.
With pleasure and looking forward.
And Firuze, I remember you were very interested in blockchain. If you want to start to work on that one, then maybe we should have a meeting and have that as your project for proposal on your own. And then, you know, while you're helping with this project, you will always have something for yourself. So whenever you have time, you can focus on that one. Do you want to do that?
I do. We need to talk about that. So meanwhile, on my own, I have been kind of, I bought a little bit of Bitcoin, so to have skin in the game, you know how it is. And
Great.
Courageous woman.
This is the only way, right? Ethereum. So now I know that blockchain technology is like from crypto to crypto, it's like a different technology. So each one has its own pros and cons. So I've been like keeping a toe in this thing, but I mean, in order to, for me to like go in a little bit more and have a focus in a direction. So we need like a little bit of a, you know, maybe 2 or 3 of us with Mara, with you, to kind of like give me a bit better direction, talk about it before I go forward. Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, just reach me and we can discuss it. Because I'm not that focused on Bitcoins, and I want to focus on actual blockchain, because I think that's where the innovation is going to happen.
Right. There was a Coinbase, the exchange went IPO, and there's an interesting article in FT today about, you know, because everybody's hailing, oh, see, like this is the coming of age of Bitcoin and cryptos, but they're cautioning, so like one of the positive elements of crypto was that it was going to circumvent regulations in the banking system and whatnot, but bringing it into mainstream, and now it's going to shed light on it, and it's going to actually lend itself more to regulation, which is the antithesis of what the original intent was. So I thought that was an interesting thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a very interesting article that Mike Morrell wrote with 2 partners. Mike Morrell, former CIA, wrote with 2 partners for the Cryptocurrency Foundation. But what I thought was really interesting that he highlighted is the forensics of blockchain that actually work against anonymity, because each transaction is there. And so it was a very interesting, and I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that is interesting for us, Pari, if we want to look at blockchain as a positive to help track things in a country that is so bad that you can't get an answer about anything because every transaction is there and is trackable. So that really struck me as a different way, kind of taking our problem and turning it on its head, as you said, rather than avoiding regulation, it actually may, by creating a paper trail or a computer trail or a code trail, whatever it is you might want to call it, it may actually lend itself more to forensics and control than was originally thought.
Yeah, blockchain actually offers that transparency and traceability. And those 2, I think, is critical to governance in future. So those 2 elements is going to change the governance as a whole. I do believe it's going to take time, but it's going to happen. I think someone had a comment. Any comment from anybody?
Just one thing, Mara, can you share that article?
Yes, please. Would you do that? That'd be great.
I'll dig it up and send it. Just if you look under Mike Morrell and Cryptocurrency Foundation, but I will.
Morrell, 2 R's and 2 L's?
Yes, 2 R's and 2 L's, I think. Greg, is that right? 2 R's and 2
I
L's?
think that's right. Yeah, I've misspelled it a time or two myself.
You and me both, but it was just, it came out on the 11th of April and he wrote it. I mean, they were hired, Beacon, his think tank or organization or whatever you call it. Beacon was hired to do the research for Cryptocurrency Foundation. And he also found that crypto is no more used for illicit than regular money, which was, of course, not what he expected to find.
Yeah, right.
Central part of his article. But what was really interesting hidden in the article was this whole talk about forensics. And then, of course, the wonderful thing about the CIA training is all the resources that they used are at the bottom. So you can actually start reading, you know, that's a really good place to look for some other things. But I will try to post it on the research thing under something, I don't know what, maybe under general. I'll post it under general for folks.
Well, the next go to Paul.
Well, maybe just start off with a comment or following what Feroza was saying. So Feroza, when you make it big with Bitcoin, I'll send you the link to the donations page for the organization, and that might be of some value there. So with that as an intro, so we now have I've created a donations page on the site to use as part of the campaign that Patty and I have been discussing using AdWords. And I think by the beginning of next week, over the next couple of days, I'll be able to launch the campaign. Patty, I did get access, in fact, to the AdWords account, and have been looking at the campaigns that were already done, getting some idea of how they're structured. So I think it should be fairly easy then to move forward with the actual campaign over the next couple of days.
But Paul, you mentioned you created a donation page. We had donation page. Have you seen those?
Yeah, but they're sort of part of it's not called out separately. In other words, there's not a dedicated donation page. So I thought that might be useful as just a landing page for the campaign. Yeah, no, absolutely. It exists within the 3 different segments that we've called out: corporate, institutional, and so. But I thought for the purpose of the campaign, it was good to have a dedicated landing page with a click through to the PayPal account that's been set up.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And I noticed you launched some ad campaigns, did you?
I haven't launched anything yet, no. I just took a look at the campaigns that have been done, the statistics, sort of familiarize myself with the different parameters. And I'd like to sort of use this tool that we've got access to through Google to test out some of the words that would be part of this campaign. But following that, then my idea would be to launch that, say, around Tuesday, either Tuesday or Wednesday.
All right. Any comment from anybody? No?
Not Paul, but once again, thank you so much for setting up, Michelle. That was really, I don't know about everybody else, but it was incredibly valuable to me. And also thanks to Leo and Echo for having done enough research that I actually understood what Michelle was talking about and could ask an informed question. I thought it was the icing on the cake. So again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks, Paul. That was terrific. I'm sorry I managed to screw it up a couple times. Forgive me.
I think it was okay, but no. I think the questions were really good. And what I found, which I sort of suspected, is that when Michel sort of went off-road and started giving his own personal insights and input, that really was the most valuable part, because yes. He has been on the front lines, dealing with customers, dealing with researchers, and I think that's really where the value is. And when he shared his own sort of thoughts and opinions and insights, that really, at least from my perspective, that's really where the interesting information was.
Yeah. And you were asking for the recording. Recording is in our YouTube channel. I assume you have access to YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Okay. And Greg, the second part wasn't there. I recorded it. Did you have access to second part record?
Let me see. I didn't notice it, but I'm sure if you record it, it should be there. they're not so easy to find and not so easy to get uploaded, but I'll give it a try.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. Any comment from anybody? No? Okay, Paul, again, thank you very much for last week and for all the work you're doing for the forum. Thank you to everybody for being here and participating, and have a wonderful week, and we see you next week.
Let's have a wonderful week, everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye.